My name is Scott Miller and I'm the Vice Chair of the Salt Lake County Republican Party. And this is Caucus Training 101. This training will be conducted in 4 parts. First, what you need to do prior to caucus. Second, what you're going to be doing during caucus. Third, how to run an election. And fourth, how to check out after caucus. Prior to caucus, you're going to want to attend at least one live training. This can be conducted by myself or your legislative district chairs. You're also going to want to gather up 3 to 5 volunteers and have them attend a training with you. If your volunteers are not able to attend a live training, just have them review the materials at slcogop.com and watch this video. The volunteers that you gather, it would be very helpful if they were tech savvy and had devices that will assist you in checking in your attendees. Yourself and your volunteers are going to want to download VoterClick app at your app store for your iPhone and your Android. This is on a practice server at this point. Follow the instructions that you can find at slcogop.com on how to download and utilize this application. My suggestion is that you play with it frequently and often over the next few weeks so that you become very familiar with that system. Caucus is slightly different this year because we will be conducting a presidential preference vote, something we have never done before, as well as we will be using VoterClick for electronic check-in. As soon as possible, you're going to want to complete all of your printing. This will include your ballots, your tally sheets, your credentials, maps, and your precinct officer duty sheets, as well as state and county delegate duty sheets. In regards to your ballots, I highly suggest that you print those in multiple colors. This way you can issue ballots 3 at a time. The colors can be any color of your choice, red, blue, green, really makes no difference. I would suggest you print your credentials on yellow paper. About a week before caucus, your legislative district chair will supply you with a list of all registered Republicans in your precinct. On this list, there will be notations on who has decided to pre-register for caucus, as well as those who have opted to participate in the presidential preference vote online. You're also going to want to gather a few things from your own home. First thing that you're going to want to get is some blue painter's tape. Schools are okay with blue painter's tape because they don't mark up their walls. The second thing that you're going to want to obtain is either a coffee can, shoebox, clear box, Tupperware, whatever you can that you can make an actual ballot box, and also will be used as a donation collections box. Third, you're going to want a yellow highlight marker. This will be explained later. And fourth, you're going to want a red and black indelible pen. And finally, you're going to want to have some extra pens and pencils for your caucus attendees so that they have all the materials necessary to do a vote. Communication is very important. My suggestion is that you communicate with your legislative district chair and combine your printing efforts. This will require a $15 to $20 donation from each precinct chair, and your legislative district chair can handle all the printing through party resources. 2 to 3 weeks prior to caucus, you will receive your county and state delegate allocation sheet. This sheet will also have an area for you to fill in for who won your particular elections. This information must be filled out completely and accurately and especially legibly. For those who have pre-registered for caucus, you can fill out their credentials prior to caucus. If those who have pre-registered for caucus have opted to do their presidential preference voting online, you will then mark their credential with 2 red lines, upper and lower, so that you know that they are not to receive a presidential preference ballot during caucus. Finally, make or buy a thank you card to leave in the classroom when finished with caucus. In this section, we'll be talking about the day of caucus. Arrive at your school between 5:30 and 6. You will then check in with your legislative chair for any last-minute details. At that point, you will set up for check-in. This could be done in the hallway of the school or perhaps in the classroom. That will be decided by your legislative district chairs and yourselves. When an attendee comes to check in, you will ask for their ID verify they're on your voter registration list, highlight that list, check them in on VoterClick, and issue a credential. The credential should contain their name, room number, precinct number, and the indication if they've elected to do their presidential preference vote online or at caucus. If an attendee is registering that night as a Republican, you will send them to your legislative help desk to fill out a voter registration card. That voter registration card will then be checked for accuracy and initialed in the upper right-hand corner. The attendee will then return to you with the voter registration card, of which you will collect. At that point, issue them a credential and physically add their name to your list. At 7 o'clock, all of the attendees will be in the auditorium where the main meeting will start. There, the prayer, pledge, and platform reading will be completed. At that time, you and your volunteers will head for your classroom to prepare for the arrival of the caucus attendees. Once in the classroom, set up a desk near the door. As attendees arrive and they are credentialed, issue them their first 3 ballots. If they are not credentialed, continue credentialing as you did prior. Once the attendees have arrived, you can now start your nomination process. Explain all the duties of each office as you are holding that nomination. If an attendee is running for a county delegate seat, make very sure that they are available to attend convention April 16th. If an attendee is running for a state delegate seat, make sure they are available for convention April 23rd. Please do your elections in the order of which they are prescribed. It is very important that you start with your precinct chair, work through the officers, county delegates, and then your state delegates. And then at that point, you can complete your presidential preference vote. After nominations have been made, give each nominee 30 seconds to explain who they are and what they're about. Take 5 random questions from the audience and allow each nominee to answer within 30 seconds to 1 minute. If the whiteboard is clear in the classroom, feel free to write your nominees' names on that whiteboard. If there is material written on the whiteboard, do not touch it. Use a pad of paper to write those nominees' names down. After all nominees have had an opportunity to speak, restate their names, and now you're ready to begin balloting. Credentialing is now closed. It may be reopened after the ballot has been taken and is in the counting room. Prior to anybody casting a ballot, you must have a final credential count. This can be achieved through VoterClick. There is a running total on your credentials in that application. If you have more than one person checking in using VoterClick, just add those 2 credential counts together, plus anyone who affiliated that night from your handwritten sheet. As each attendee casts their ballot, please mark their credential in the upper right-hand corner, indicating that they have cast their vote. How to get somebody elected. In the following example, we are using 100 credentialed attendees within your precinct for easy math. You have 1 position available to vote for. And here's the example. You have 5 people running for 1 position: Larry, Sharon, Mo, Jane, and Curly. After the votes have been counted, the results turned in were Larry received 30 votes, Sharon 19, Mo 18, Jane 17, and Curly 16. The question is, did anybody win that seat? The answer is no. It is required for somebody to win a position, they must achieve 50% plus 1 vote to be declared a winner. How you decide who goes to the second round is you take the most vote getters until you achieve the threshold of 50% plus 1 vote. In this example, with Larry receiving 30 votes, Sharon receiving 19 votes, and Mo receiving 18 votes, Larry and Sharon combined only achieves 49%. So you must take Mo to the second round with him, because combined they achieved the threshold of 50% plus 1 vote. In round 2, in this example, Larry received 49 votes, Sharon received 40 votes, and Mo received 11 votes. Once again, the question is did anybody win that election? The answer is no. Nobody received 50% plus one vote. Once again, we must decide who we are taking to the third round. In this example, with Larry with 49 votes, Sharon with 40 votes, the two combined achieved the threshold of 50% plus one vote. In the third round, you have a 50-50. In this example, Larry received 60 votes and Sharon received 35. Larry won this election. In an off chance that you have a 50-50 vote, it's a coin toss. You decide who calls it. When you have more than two positions available, which is often the case when electing delegates, this is the most efficient way to complete that task. In this example, we have the same 100 caucus attendees. We have 3 positions available. We have the same 5 people running: Larry, Mo, Curly, Sharon, and Jane. In this situation, you're going to ask your attendees to write 3 names on one ballot. What you're doing is you're combining 3 elections on this one ballot. In this example, Larry received 78 votes, Sharon received 69 votes, Mo 35, Jane 34, and Curly received 30. Did anybody win? In this instance, yes. Larry received 78 votes, surpassing the threshold. Sharon also received 69 votes, surpassing the threshold as well. Mo, Jane, and Curly did not get over the 50% plus one vote. Once again, we decide who is going on to the second round. In the second round, you only have 1 position available. You've already filled the other 2. With Mo receiving 35 votes, Jane received 34 votes, the 2 of them combined surpassed the threshold of 50% plus one vote, and Curly drops. In the second round, you're back to a 50-50. In the off chance that it's tied, flip a coin. When you're asking for volunteers to help you count ballots, be very sure that a family member of those running for an office are not involved in the counting. Once an election is completed, make sure they receive a duty sheet and that the allocation sheet is filled out completely and legibly with their name, phone number, address, and email address, as well as update VoterClick. Also, be sure that your paper copy of all registered voters in your precinct is noted with who won what position. After all of your precinct's delegates have been elected, you are now ready to perform your presidential preference vote. All of those who have opted to do this online are now free to go home. Those who are doing this at caucus, issue a ballot and have them complete their presidential preference vote as instructed. Thank all of your attendees for their time and effort and send them home. Gather all of those who were elected to their offices and have a quick meeting. At this meeting, you will go over the dates required, have 2 of the new officers count the donations, insert into the envelope, seal, and sign. Once you have verified that all the paperwork has been completed accurately, verify that the classroom is clean, and leave your thank you card for your teacher. At this point, you will head for your legislative desk for checkout. Once there, your legislative chair will collect your donation envelope, all of your paper backups, and ask you to sync your VoterClick devices. You have now successfully completed a caucus. Go home, thank you for your time, and have a wonderful evening.